Yo, it's good, everyone. It's One Pog back again. One Pog Book Club here with another book that I just recently finished, Dumbing Us Down, The Hidden Curriculum of Compulsory Schooling by John Taylor Gatto. John Taylor Gatto was a teacher for 30 years and 1990 New York State Teacher of the Year. He wrote a bunch of speeches and compiled the speeches into this book, Dumbing Us Down, which is a classic and should honestly be read by everybody. If you went through the public school system, you should probably read it. If you have children in the public school system, you should probably read it. And this book is it's older, it's an old book, and it's basically about how the public school system and government controlled schools basically have a monopoly on the educational system in America, and its sole purpose is to make kids dumb, steal their genius away, and make them perfect little cogs for corporate wage slave labor, basically. So if you yeah, I mean, if you went to the public school system, you know how fucked up it is. And he makes a lot of good points in this. And being a teacher for 30 years, I mean, you can't really criticize anything he's saying because he was there and he taught the curriculum to kids. And it's just crazy how yeah, he's pretty much right about everything. And today in 2025, you look at the state of the world and the public school system and kids, and it's kind of depressing because I don't know if he could have seen, I don't know if the author's still alive. I don't know if he could have seen what everything would turn into and how things would devolve into what we have today. But yeah, I mean, they make the schooling system, the educational system, it doesn't really educate. And he talks about how, some of the smartest people never really went to school, never graduated school, and how he details the history behind public education, government controlled schools. And when you really sit back and think about it, we all want to change the world and make it a better place and kind of figure out a way to be free and do our own things and dismantle just society because, it's so fucked up now. And we all have these solutions and everything, but when it starts with the kids, it's kind of hard to. Yeah, I mean, they get you when you're young and they put you through the system and institutionalization. And nowadays, with like having kids on drugs and doctors prescribing these kids these drugs, like I ran into someone and they were talking about how their roommate's 9-year-old son takes like a bag full of pills for like ADHD and all kinds of other shit. And, that's just fucked up. It makes me hella sad that there's kids out there who, are just being fed. Number one, they're going to school every day and just being made into machines like NPCs. And then the ones who are kind of deemed not okay, I guess, they're just fed, drugs and being put on pills and shit that they're really never, that's just gonna fuck their life up and they're never gonna really recover from, especially when they just go through this type of like conditioning day in and day out. And if you're a parent, a lot of us parents, we're busy and it's hard to, I don't know, well, we don't know how to parent because we've obviously been through the same system. So it's just kind of this crazy self perpetuating cycle of just everything's fucked and it just keeps getting more fucked. And now with like, TikTok and yeah, just the internets and quote unquote social media. It's really, I don't know, this book's kind of, it's really eye-opening when you read it, but it's also just really fucking depressing because you look at the way of the world now and it's just like, man, we're so fucked. We're fucked. It's kind of, yeah, like I said, it's depressing. It kind of put me in a little bit of depression in terms of like, I mean, what do we do? How do we fix this? We all look around, unless, we just look around and you can just see how everything is so fucked and there's no way out, and it's like, you can't, what are you going to do? Yeah, I don't even know where I'm going with this, but sorry, I'm hitting my babe. But I didn't. I dropped out of high school when I was like 16 years old. I had a full-time job, and I had to pay rent, so that's why I dropped out of high school. When I turned 18, I got my GED and finished in like the top percentiles of my class according to the GED scores and aptitude. So it's not like I'm stupid. I've always been considered myself smart. And, up until I dropped out of high school at 16, I was always getting F's and failing and being a problem. And the administrators, I had a reputation as not a good student or a kid. And, so that was my experience with schooling. And I learned more about like society and how to conduct myself in like social settings more than I learned anything about actual like academics like algebra and stuff like that. I used to show up to class and I had a really rough childhood, but anyways, I used to show up to class and everyone had their supplies in their backpacks and all that shit, and I would show up and would have to like borrow binder paper, and I didn't have a pencil or a pen and I'd have to borrow one. And teachers used to just like, they would just obviously like kick me out. I would vandalize, I would smoke pot, and I was just like, yeah, I wasn't really a good student. And I think I always wanted to learn my own way, and that way that I learned was the hard way. So, yeah, I'm kind of like not really the best to I wasn't the best student, and I think failing in school has been it has a lot to do with my self-image and the way I grew up. And um yeah, so this book kind of resonates with me a lot. And so yeah, if, like I said, if you have kids, or you want to learn about how we've been fucked over since we were kids and how the government basically yeah, their intention is not to educate us. They just want to make us good to work for corporations and kind of institutionalize us and institutionalize our life and homogenize every single person to make them the same, which is kind of, what they're doing to people, children, and yeah, just our country as a whole, like homogenized. It's all the same no matter where you go. And but the education system plays a key role and is a very important factor. And when you consider all of that, and and sorry, I'm ranting, but I don't really give a shit. But yeah, you take I look at I live in an apartment. I live by myself here, and I live down the street from an elementary school, and I could see it when I look out my living room window, and I can hear like the bell ring, and when the kids are at like recess and lunch, I can hear them playing in the schoolyard. And sometimes I just go look through my living room window, and I see the kids playing, and I see them at school, and it's like super depressing that I think about it, and I think about like, oh shit, how many of those kids are on like drugs, you know what I mean? How many of those kids are have some type of fucked up home life? How many of those kids are going to grow up to be drug addicts or criminals? And like, they're so innocent, and it hurts me. It makes me depressed, because we're fucking the kids up in society, and no one really seems to give a shit. And it's just like, yeah, to just statistically, all those kids are a lot of those kids at the school, are just gonna grow up to be fuck ups, and they don't deserve that. And it's not their fault. And I feel like they don't really have anybody to like stick up for them or defend them. And yeah, it's just kind of sad. And I was talking to somebody I know, and I explained all this to them, and they were like, you're looking at it the wrong way. They have their whole life in front of them to live. And it's like, yeah, I mean, that is true, but when society is so fucked up and no one gives a shit, and it's just like, what is there for life for them? It's really sad. And I have kids too, and I think about yeah, just my kids and my family. And yeah, it's just really depressing. But the only thing I take away from this book, and then I'll finish, is that the only thing I really take away from this book is that like, how do we fight all this bullshit in society? Like, how do we like combat it, and how do we make the world a better place? And I'm just reminded of the internal work that we do on ourselves to make ourselves better. And that's like the very bottom of the most small amount of change that we can make to affect the world. But I'm constantly working on myself, trying to make myself better, so that when I go out into my community, that I can affect positive change. If I ever get in a relationship, I'll be able to have my family have be a good force in the community. And it just all starts with us individually to make the world a better place. So that's kind of why I like to learn everything, and know as much as I can, and just be familiar with how fucked everything is, but how I could still be. It doesn't mean I need to be fucked, or we need to be fucked. And so yeah, Dumbing Us Down, the Hidden Curriculum of Compulsory Schooling by John Taylor Gatto. Sorry, my camera's shaking a lot. I just film these videos. I'm on my bed right now. I lay a little blanket out, and I just hold the phone. I don't have a mic or any type of thing. So that's kind of how I make the videos. So yeah, if it's shaking, my bad. And that's my cat, Peaches. I think she's hungry right now. She wants some food. I fed my cats earlier, but they're piggies, dude. So, but anyways, Dumbing Us Down. It's a classic book. Please read it. Please, if you've read it, let me know, or not. I don't really give a shit. And yeah, just be good to the kids. Don't put them on fucking drugs. Don't keep them off the fucking internet. Or if you're gonna let them be on the internet, at least let them know what's really good with it. I feel like part of it is like knowing Like if you're in prison or if you're fucking someone up, or if you're fucking yourself up, you want to at least know what you're getting into and the risks and everything involved. And kids are smart. We treat kids like how he says in this book, we treat kids like they're fucking stupid, but kids are geniuses. And protect the kids at all costs. If anything, be good to the kids and don't put them on fucking drugs, and don't let some quote unquote expert tell you what the fuck it is, because that's part of the problem right there. Be your own expert and be a good advocate for the children, and be good. That's it. And don't listen to these psychologists who try to tell us, no, no. Anyways, dumbing us down. John Taylor Gatto. Read it or don't. It's up to you. And one pucks. I'm out, dude. Holler at me.